We're continuing with our theme of hatch, match, and dispatch. Your business has hatched and is starting to grow. So, what next? Do you need someone else involved? This is the obvious next stage. This week, I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on bringing somebody else into your business. In other words, finding the perfect match. Next week, we'll look at letting go of your baby, the ways in which you leave your business behind, or more likely, how you exit and perhaps then kill off the lifeless corpse. But let's look a bit on the positive side, and this week we're still building. There are many ways in which you can involve other people in your business. But let's focus initially on people coming in at a high level. Business partners, fellow directors, shareholders come together in what many people have described as a form of marriage. You are dealing with long-term and evolving human relationships, and just like a real marriage, some will stand the test of time, but others will not. While you're in that business relationship, you will be growing, and your character and attitudes will be moulded by the cut and thrust of business. And that can affect people in different ways. So let's look at some of the people you might be going into a business relationship with. It could be a new member of staff. Now, these can be quite transient anyway, so while we only want to employ people we think we will get on with, we don't worry too much. The other three categories, partner, director, and shareholders, have an air of longevity, if not permanence, so we need to take extra care and consider all the ramifications. Consider this. Before entering the relationship, think about what you would be feeling 1 year after the marriage has ended in a potentially acrimonious divorce. What risks have you suffered as a result of the ending of that relationship? Let's look first at taking on a new member of staff. I like the idea of a bus because you and your team are on a journey and the driver, possibly you, knows where they're going. Who do you want on that bus with you? There are two basic tests which you should apply in each situation. Firstly, do they have the ability? And secondly, do they display the right attitude? If the answer to either of these is either a no or maybe, find someone else. Now, taking on a new partner is a completely different kettle of fish. It's a much more serious business. You could find yourself responsible for all the business debts created by your new partner. This is what's meant by joint and several liability. We don't see many limited partnerships. This is where one of the partners has limited exposure to partnership debt. We commonly see these in a situation where one partner is providing most of the finance for a venture, but does not want exposure to risk because they have more to lose. LLPs are a partnership company crossover where all the partners have limited liability protection, but you have to file accounts at Companies House for everyone to see. Here are some thoughts when considering taking on a new partner. You need a partnership agreement. Everyone ignores it until something goes wrong in the relationship, then everything hinges on what is written down in black and white. It should include things like profit sharing and how to join and how to exit the partnership. Does your prospective new partner have the technical ability for the role you want them to fulfill? Are they committed? You're working 60 or more hours a week. Will they do the same? Are they the right person to have on your bus? Do you share a common vision for the business, a common outlook and attitude? A new director initially is just like an employee, but this is likely to evolve over time. Are they the right person on the bus? How will you be monitoring their performance? What KPIs are they going to be influencing? You need a contract of employment because that gives you a level of protection. Are you going to offer management incentives? What if the relationship goes wrong? With this in mind, don't offer more in the remuneration package than you can afford to lose. They could be here today and gone tomorrow. What about new shareholders? Well, remember you are giving away part of your business, possibly forever, in return for some cash. So look at all the alternatives. Depending on how many shares you're giving away, you could lose control over your own company. Remember that shareholders control who will be the directors, and so you could be voted off the board. It's a good idea to have a shareholders agreement to regulate how you deal with each other. It could say that the shares have to be offered back to you in certain situations, or it might set out the dividend policy for the company. For example, 50% of the profits before tax to be distributed by way of dividend. You should amend your company's articles to include preemption rights so that if they want to sell their shares, they have to offer them back to you first. Don't forget that all shareholders have access to the company's financial accounts, and you don't want that getting into the hands of competitors. So, should you take the plunge and take on more people, with all the headaches that could bring? Well, inevitably, if you want to grow your business, you have to take on people. Let's look at some of the reasons why you might want to take this course of action. You may need technical expertise that you do not have. You may just need someone to help to share the load of running and administering the company. You may be planning a phased exit, so you are growing and grooming your successor. They may have connections to potential customers or specialist suppliers. It could be that as part of a takeover or merger, you acquire another director or shareholder, which is part of the package or deal. Finally, it might be a way of incentivizing management and retaining key personnel if they feel they're part of the business. So there are many reasons for entering into that personal relationship minefield. I have known professional people who have decided very early in their careers that they would never entertain taking on a partner. That's a very personal decision, but one that comes with its own challenges, not least, how do you exit your business? So if you want to discuss any of these matters further, please get in touch. I'm Alan Long from the Long Partnership, making life less taxing.